pirate survival game Crosswind have just announced some updates in their summer progress teaser today, and I've got all the info you need. Following the hugely popular playtest this June, they've outlined some changes they've made based on feedback from the player base. Let's start with teasers for new content. In the teaser trailer, you can see a new biome added to the existing coastal jungle, foothills and swamp. The Ashlands is a scorched, dangerous biome, with new secrets and treasures buried under volcanic ash. It's filled with new quests, challenging enemies, expansive dungeons, and more. Presumably there'll be a new boss for that biome too. Then there's changes to sailing. In the playtest, we followed the quest to repair a boat and were rewarded with the Cutter, our first proper ship, with cannons to fire upon enemy vessels. We had to find a crew and a navigator. However, in the playtest, you only actually saw the crew when you started boarding another ship. Your crew would spawn in and fight the enemy pirates with melee combat. Then you'd be pronounced victorious and could loot their treasure, before watching the enemy ship sink into the depths. Now your crew will be visible on deck while you're sailing with new animations and recruitment mechanics. This is a much needed change to make the game more realistic in my opinion, and sailing a little less of a lonely experience. Really excited about that addition. They're also updating water physics and behaviour to make the naval part of the game more immersive and dynamic. I'm interested to see what they do with the sea. Maybe they'll add some sea creatures, maybe we could see some fish swimming about. Would you like to see some sharks to make falling in the water a bit more risky? I think I would. Okay, let's talk about Tortuga. On the playtest, Tortuga was the MMO social hub on an island you could explore but couldn't build on, with traders to spend your well-earned piastres and your first sight of other players. Well, this has been completely reimagined since the playtest. This is now described as a besieged outpost where the living hold defence against the dead. In the teaser trailer, you can see shambling undead pirates, a bar, and new hireable NPC, the alchemist Mary Bullard, unlocking new potions. I managed to get killed by an angry boar that spawned in when I was selling stuff on the playtest, and I dropped all my valuables. So I'm hoping they're designing Tortuga to make us safe while trading. And this leads to the next update, which changes the direction of Crosswind as a game. Rather than a PvE and PvP survival MMO, they've decided to move to survival single player and co-op. They've said that blending a single player co-op experience with our own personal archipelago worlds posed some technical challenges, and the cost of running online servers makes it unfeasible for a studio of their size. It did feel a bit clunky waiting to load in and back out of our worlds, and we only ran into other players briefly in Tortuga when we went to buy items from the traders. This change is also informed by players reporting that they were happy playing in their own private worlds alongside friends in a more traditional survival experience. So going forward, they've said the focus will be on PvE co-op rather than on building an online MMO. This means the game will be playable offline or on dedicated or self-hosted servers. So what does this mean for the PvP element of the game? Well, on the playtest, the only PvP opportunity was in an arena in a separate instance you had to load in and out of. This was a large square of ocean where players could battle with ships or fight on a tiny patch of land in the middle. The time I loaded in, there was nobody there to fight, and I left pretty quickly. With the new plans for the game, there'll be no PvP, at least for the time being, while the devs work on building a co-op survival adventure. How do you guys feel about that change? Personally, I loved the PvE gameplay, and while I liked running into other players at Tortuga, it wasn't a big enough part of the game to mind losing that, and I'd be interested in running a server for our community if the game supported enough players together. But it might make more sense sticking to smaller groups if you're sharing the archipelago and resources. The next announcement was a change from free-to-play to buy-to-play. A lot of players I talked to during the playtest were concerned about the game becoming pay-to-win or the egregious microtransactions from other free games. So going forward, the plan is to charge for the game upfront. Depending on the size of the game at launch, I would love to see an early access price along the same lines as Valheim. What about you? How much do you think is a fair price? So the next big step they've talked about is early access. They're focusing on working on the feedback from the alpha, improving mechanics, balance, stability, and more quality of life features, and want a polished product for early access launch. Based on how well the alpha ran, I have high hopes. They're not ready to launch yet and are looking at 2026 with the exact date to be announced. Are you hyped for Crosswind? And how do you feel about the news? Did you manage to get into the playtest? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and check out my Crosswind playlist. I want to say a big thank you to our channel members for their support. If you'd like to become a member, hit the subscribe plus button under this video. You can catch me live streaming a host of survival games here and on my Twitch channel. Make sure to follow me there too. Thanks for watching.